Hello everyone, we're standing here today at Hydrogen Technology Expo in Hamburg, organized by Transglobal Events. My name is Johann Wiebe from the Hydrogen Standard, and with me here today are two lovely folk from ABB. We're standing at the ABB stand, Arjan and Nigel. Thanks guys for having us.
Yes, welcome. We'd love to tell you something more about our products.
Thanks, Johan. Pleased to be here.
Okay, great chance for us to be here. I'll start with you, Arjan. Can you give us a brief introduction about sort of yourself in the business and the role within ABB?
Yeah, my name is Arjan Meerveld. Almost 18 years at ABB. I work for ABB Frankfurt, the CJ factory. And I'm focused on new technologies like carbon capture, hydrogen, ammonia, etc.
How is sort of like the measurement analytics used in ABB with the focus on the hydrogen industry?
Yes, it's a huge program. So to start with instrumentation maybe, we have since years already gold-plated membranes for pressure transmitters with one big advantage to prevent ingress of hydrogen in the sensor. As ABB we also have High Shield, that's another system but has the same purpose. But at lower costs and with a longer durability. So that's on pressure. For temperature we have of course the traditional temperature measurements with thermal wells, but ABB also has NINFA. That's a temperature measurement from outside. So imagine you don't have to drill holes in pipelines. You just clamp it on the system and you can measure temperature very precisely. Both products come with SIL2 requirements, so perfectly for the hydrogen industry.
Fantastic. Moving on a little bit to focus on the measurement of emissions, gas analyzers, emissions. I think, if I said it correctly, can you tell us a little bit about that sort of equipment that's used and in which sort of industries that is being applied?
Yeah. So I'm from ABB Frankfurt, one of the factories. We have actually three main factories for analytics, starting in the United States, in Bakersfield for process chromatographs. Second one is Quebec in Canada, where we make FTIR products and also laser ICOS analyzers for impurities in gas. And where I come from is Frankfurt. We are famous on our emission measurements. But the last years we see a growing part for process measurement, including hydrogen. So we measure oxygen in hydrogen, hydrogen in oxygen, with Caldos and Magnos, and several other opportunities to serve the hydrogen industry.
Great, so we'll move now to Nigel. Nigel, brief introduction of yourself before we delve into sort of more details.
Yeah, hi Johan, and thanks for being here today. My name's Nigel Greatorex, and I'm the Global Business Manager for CCS within ABB's Energy Industries.
Fantastic. So let's talk a little bit about the wider energy industry and sort of like decarbonization efforts. What are some of the key challenges that you see there?
Well, I think there's many challenges that we face in aiming towards decarbonising industries and getting to our net zero targets. I think technology providers like ABB have a big role to play. Governments have a big role to play, both from a regulatory perspective but also in physical support. And you need all this to come together. There's no silver bullet that's going to get us to our net zero targets. So whether it be hydrogen production, whether it be decarbonisation through CCS, everything is going to be needed to actually get to our net zero targets by 2050.
Very true. Can you give us then some examples of sort of the efforts that ABB Energy Industries is sort of utilizing to decarbonization?
Sure. I mean, I can speak about CCS, which I'm responsible for here. And ABB signed some partnership agreements with some world-class partners. And we're starting to deploy now new digital solutions that de-risk the elements of transporting and sequestering CO2. And as I go around exhibitions like this and I speak to project developers, I think that the technology that we're developing is very much needed and it's being well perceived.
Excellent. So moving a little bit towards the hydrogen side instead of the CCS, we can come back to that in a minute. What is sort of your view on scaling green hydrogen sort of on a global scale and sort of the challenges associated with that as well?
The big two challenges that come to mind immediately is scalability and cost. We've got to get the volume of electrolyzer systems up, and we've got to get the cost curves down. And that's required regardless of geographical locations of where these plants get built.
Yeah, it's a bit of a broad question, maybe sort of market related, not directly something that any sort of company majorly can influence themselves, but maybe back then to sort of like ABB's efforts in this. What are sort of like your contributions there?
ABB's got a lot to offer towards all elements of the hydrogen industry, whether it be green hydrogen, whether it be blue hydrogen, and we continue to evolve in terms of developing new technologies that are going to aid the success of these new industries take off.
Fantastic. Let's move back then to CCS, and address sort of like maybe the same aspects in terms of challenges in rolling out that market. What is sort of your view on that and sort of the efforts that ABB is deploying there?
I think when it comes to CCS, I think one of the important points to note first and foremost is it is a new industry. And with any new industry, there's going to be bumps along the way. Whether it be projects failing, projects not getting through FID, so project developers, technology providers, government support, it all has a role to play. But actually, when you look at CCS as a new industry, there are significant risks. Certainly when you transport CO2, when you look to sequester CO2, there are significant business risks that come with that, and that's where ABB's focused with our partners in developing new digital solutions that can de-risk those elements of the projects.
Can you give some examples on what sort of risks you're thinking about?
I mean, corrosion is a big risk. CO2 is extremely corrosive. When you're transporting and disposing of CO2, it's all around being able to predict how the network will operate under changing conditions, transients from emitters going on and offline, compositional changes within the stream of the CO2, both in gas and dense phases. And this is where ABB's new CCS 360 solution comes in, that is able to de-risk all those elements of a project.
So in terms of the project deployment then, what needs to happen, sort of like maybe the key factor that needs to happen to move more of that going forward? You also mentioned not a lot of them reaching FID, or too few, or the many risks involved. What are sort of like the main things that need to happen for this market to get moving?
I think when it comes to taking FIDs when projects have already gone through FEED, I think getting some of the cost curves down, taking the risk out, but also, CCS is moving at a different pace all around the world. It's mainly driven top down by government policies and fiscal support. Permitting, getting the permits in place to actually store the CO2 is proving challenging in certain countries. But we continue to learn. It's a new industry, and there's no silver bullet that's going to get us towards those net zero targets like I mentioned previously. So we need to collaborate. We need technology collaboration across providers. We need good and bad experiences to be shared across the industry so that people don't make the same pitfalls. It's going to be a bumpy journey, and we've got a long way to go. But what I can say is I'm very excited to work for ABB, proud to work for ABB, and be part of this journey to make it a success.
Fantastic, guys. Arjan, Nigel, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Johan.